Access to the internet is a critical issue for residents in the city of Detroit. In 2014, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance ranked Detroit as the second worst connected city, with over one-third of the city's residents lacking a home internet service provider. Even with a recent development of central business districts, many neighborhoods across the city remain underserved by the internet. This digital divide could be reinforcing social and economic divides between distressed neighborhoods and recently gentrified districts across the city.
Hi, my name is Lilia Fernandez.
This is Dr. Lilia Fernandez, former assistant director here at the Quello Center and alumni of Michigan State University with a PhD in Media and Information Studies. And this is Urban Myths of the Digital Divide, an exploration of connectivity, breadth of use, and interest across Detroit's neighborhoods.
Our main motivation for this study were some statistics that had come out around 2015. The FCC chairman had actually designated Detroit as having the most extreme digital divide in any major U.S. city. 4% of Americans in urban areas lack access to broadband, but in Detroit, the figure was closer to 40%, with about 70% of school-aged children living in homes that did not have a home internet connection.
In November of 2017, the Quello Center partnered with the Wayne State Center for Urban Studies and conducted 525 telephone interviews in the Cody Rouge, Milwaukee Junction, and 7-8 Mile neighborhoods. 3 focus groups consisting of different community members were also formed and were crucial to understanding the survey results. After that, a public forum was held to discuss the results with community leaders.
We came into this project understanding that there were a number of myths that may hinder the ability for decision makers to make real and lasting change as it relates to the digital divide.
And after analyzing the data, the Quello Center identified 4 suspected myths about internet usage in Detroit. Myth number 1, Detroiters are underconnected. To what extent are Detroiters connected or underconnected?
So one of the first things that we examined in this research was whether or not Detroiters are in fact underconnected. 98% report going online to use the internet regularly. 76% report using the internet from their home, yet only 62% have a home ISP connection.
Myth number 2, Detroiters have negative attitudes towards the internet. Can negative attitudes towards the internet explain existing gaps in connectivity?
One myth that we wanted to address was whether adoption rates or having a home ISP was at all impacted by attitudes, and more specifically, whether people were choosing not to have a home ISP connection because they were disinterested or they were fearful for some reason. We found overwhelmingly positive attitudes toward the internet and a very obvious lack of fear or disinterest.
Myth number 3, Detroiters just aren't interested in the internet. Is the internet accessible and affordable in Detroit?
Issues of affordability are often disguised as disinterest. This can be expressed as a duplication of services. So for example, in one of our focus groups, one participant characterized this as saying, I don't need 8 wheels on my car. He was referring to the fact that he had a cell phone and wasn't home often enough to justify paying for an ISP connection.
Among those without a home internet service provider, a lack of interest and affordability are among the 2 biggest reasons. However, over half of those without an ISP would like to have home access. Myth number 4, cell phones are a sufficient connection to the internet. Are cell phones a sufficient connection to the internet?
Cell phones are not sufficient. People that are reliant on cell phones are missing out on a number of capital enhancing activities, most notably shopping. The instance of shopping decreases significantly when one does not have a home ISP. Now this is important because the average American is thought to save about $8,000 a year by comparison shopping or shopping online. And we have people within distressed neighborhoods who are being cut off from that opportunity, that cost-saving opportunity, or the ability to access goods and services that may not be directly available within their neighborhoods.
We cannot carry on with these assumptions that the difference in household internet adoption rates in Detroit are because of fear or disinterest, but we can also no longer assume that having a cell phone is enough. The results of the study showed 2 digital divides: a gap between those households with an ISP and those without, as well as a gap between those who are dependent only on their cell phone for internet access and those who are not. By identifying the urban myths of internet usage, we can provide the clarity to leapfrog them.
Issues of affordability are particularly relevant to our sample and to our study. We had a number of focus group participants talk about how they had to delay other bills or put off other important purchases in order to sustain either an ISP or their cell phone. And with this, a very clear recognition of the importance of being connected.
Section 706 of the 1996 Telecommunications Act requires the FCC to determine whether broadband is being deployed to all Americans in a reasonable and timely fashion. In the event that such advanced telecommunications capability is not deployed quickly, the agency is required by law to take immediate action to accelerate deployment by removing barriers to infrastructure investment and by promoting competition in the telecommunications market. 20 years after the passage of this act, many residents in the city of Detroit are still waiting to be connected. And now, because of the pandemic, residents without a home internet service provider, or those whom are connected only via cell phone, are desperate to stay connected for online class, work, or other aid-related applications. For more information, please visit quello.msu.edu.